All right. Hello, everyone. It's Graydon here with Forever Booked. I'm here with my wonderful client, Carey Buckner. Carey's the owner of Buckner Vein Aesthetics. It's a med spa located out in Eldersburg, Maryland. Carey, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, great, and thanks for having me.
Awesome. As we know, we've just finished this 8 week initial program with us, Carey, and you've had some really great results. So I really like to get into that, just like this first 8 weeks, talk about that. But before we begin, I just want to give the people that are watching some context, just understand the situation where you guys were at before contacting us. I know like you're like a really successful clinic. You guys have a lot of great things going on, but maybe you could go back to when you first heard of Forever Booked. What kind of sparked your interest and gave you the motivation to initially sign up with us?
Sure. Before finding you guys, we actually have been pretty frustrated with marketing. We're a new practice, we're just over a year old, and so I feel like we've been throwing a lot of money at marketing trying to figure out what works. And we've done just that. We threw a lot of money out at marketing and really couldn't find much that was working for us. I was getting pretty frustrated and frankly, really just didn't think that we were going to find a great marketing company and that we were going to have to reinvent the wheel. We were referred to you guys by a company that we do use for social media. And she really didn't know much about you, but knew that a couple of her clients who had used you guys were really happy. So I was trusted her a lot, was willing to give you guys a try. So you and I met on a call and you told me about your plan. And honestly, I was a little, okay, we'll see, because it was
Yeah.
similar to something we tried with a
Yeah.
different company. And that was a total bust. And you guys were a little bit different in that our practice, or we took those lead calls, and whereas this other company, they took the lead calls.
Mm.
And so I'm like, okay, what's a little bit different? I'm willing to give it a shot. We're sort of desperate at this point to find something that will work. And I'm so glad we did. Just from the get go, it was so different right away. And our return on investment happened in the first couple of weeks working with you guys. We already got back what we paid out with y'all, and then it went way beyond our expectations. I'm excited that we just signed on for a year with you guys, and I can't wait to keep moving forward, building off of the foundation we've started.
Yeah, that's great. And you guys have been fantastic to work with this whole 8 weeks. How many marketing companies did you work with before? Was it just a couple or like how many did you
About six.
six? Oh my god. That's actually not that uncommon. I talk to a lot of clinics and yeah, they're just like a graveyard of agencies. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad you're able to finally find something that worked. What do you think was the main difference or the differences that caused it to work? Because you work with six companies, like they've obviously tried, like between six companies, they probably tried a lot of different strategies. Between us having following up the leads and sending the calls to you, was there anything else that you feel led to the success this time versus the last six times?
Absolutely. I noticed, I didn't even realize this until I started taking calls and scheduling people in our books, that everyone that I was talking to were local. We're in a community that's up and coming. We're a little bit further out from the popular areas. And those other marketing groups were sending it out. We had people calling us with the other groups from 2 hours away. And I'm like, you're going to pass how many med spas on the way to me? This is crazy. Now, granted, we
Mm,
tried to get them in, but they would be no shows. Right away, I loved that people had already been driving by. They already were familiar with us. And so seeing those ads prompted them to make a move.
yeah.
And so they already felt like we were in their hometown. They already had a connection with us, even though they didn't. And you got the marketing that y'all did made them pull the trigger to take action. So
Yeah.
definitely people being in our community. And we're in a small community too. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, how many clients can we actually get from this community? And it's been a ton. And they're
Cool.
still coming in. So that definitely made a difference. The other thing that I think made a great difference was that we had to take those calls. And so we were, whenever they're interacting with a text message, and so whenever that first human to human interaction came as far as a phone call and voices, they're speaking to somebody from our practice. And so if they had questions not related to the ad, we're able to answer them right then and there. And really, I think that helped them a lot to earn trust about what we were doing, rather than before. I was able to listen to some of the phone calls that the other company was doing. And while the person on the calls was fantastic, when they had some pretty simple questions that would be simple for us to answer, she really just couldn't give them an answer. And I think that subliminally makes them not trust you as much or not build a connection with you. We were able to build a rapport before they ever came in.
Yeah. The whole thing about building a call center is that's something that it's a give and take. So if you have someone, an external call center, that even if the person's amazing at sales, you still have that disconnect of like information. And so
Sure.
yeah, the feedback that I've gotten from a lot of clinics, if they did hire a call center, it's like pretty similar. Maybe it's a bit less work, but the quality of the appointments will go down because it's not someone from the clinic. And if you talk to the person on the phone and you're in the clinic and then you see them in person, there's that connection too. If they're like, oh, you're the one that I was speaking with over the phone. So there's that.
Right.
I do know there's a lot of clinics watching this where I want someone to take the calls. And that's certainly an option. And that's something that we even have on our roadmap to have people to take those calls. But there's definitely an advantage of doing it in-house, which you've seen with the
Sure. I had a lot of pushback on that. I really didn't want to make those calls.
Yeah.
But they actually turned out to be way easier than I thought they would be. And you're right. I schedule everybody's consults with me. And so there's already a level of trust when I'm meeting them for the first time because we've already spoken on the phone.
It's like you know each other, you're not strangers.
But at the same time, I did see that you guys were going to be offering a call center type thing. And I am still interested in talking to you guys about doing it because what y'all have done so far has just been so different. And I'm even willing to give that a try because my schedule's full. But
I know. I'm very aware of that bottleneck of the taking phone calls. And it leads to great results, but it is a bottleneck, right? I'm super excited to roll that out. You can definitely chat about that too, the call center. I'm going to take those calls.
Also, I think a big part of our success is once they're in, there's so much more to offer them than what they just initiated in that first offer or ad they saw. And I've tailored how I speak to those calls as I've gone along to really kind of leave it broad and not get specific with them on the phone, and how I've kind of made that an easy transition of, hey, listen, I just really want to invite you in. I tell them our whole purpose for our intro offer is one, to help you find us. Yay, I'm so glad you found us. Welcome. And then I say the other point of it is to really to invite you into our practice for a complimentary consult. That way I can see your skin, see your face, see your area of concern, and then we can get really specific there about the best ways to approach and help you reach your goals rather than over the phone when I can't see you. And everyone has been like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. I haven't had anyone not want a consult. It's been 100% of my calls. If they pick up the phone, they're all coming in for a consult.
Yes. You get it. That's the exact strategy. And yeah, that's the key, right? Because the way we get people to show up for the consults, having that intro treatment makes it exciting. That's what makes them find you. But then the classic objection that I'll get from someone considering trying this is, hey, they're just going to be like fixated on the intro treatment. They're just going to want that. And then they're not going to want to do anything else. What would you say to someone with that specific objection, given your experience with the calls?
I would say I have a few people that really, they just wanted to come in and have the intro offer. And they did. And we have yet to hear from them again. But it's been so few and far between. I was worried about that also. For our particular intro offer, it's a single treatment, but really for them to get any results from that treatment, they're going to need a package. I will, if it comes up on the phone, I'll tell them, absolutely, yeah, we can totally schedule you for that intro offer, and you can totally have it done. But full disclosure, if you and I were meeting for the first time in person and you never saw our ad, I would never recommend a single treatment for somebody for this particular treatment because it's just not going to make you happy in the long run. You have to interrogate the skin multiple times at a certain time frame for us to really produce change. So I don't want to mislead you. It's a great way to introduce you to this treatment, but I would never give a claim that you're going to see great results from one treatment. And they're like, oh, okay, I understand that. So when they come in for the consult, I don't even bring up the offer. I act like we've never met before. And sometimes I'll even tell them that, listen, I know that you're in from our intro offer and we're going to talk about laser genesis. I'm going to let you know, or whatever our intro offer was. Well, I'll let you know all about that great treatment. But first of all, I want to pretend like we've never spoken or met before. What brings you in? What are your main concerns? I see you checked off this. Of these on this list, what bothers you the most? And then we just start that true consult, as if, because I feel like if I were to lead in with the offer, then we're just focused in on a treatment that actually might even not be the right treatment for them based off their skincare concerns. And a lot of times they're actually going in a completely different direction. And I've only had a very limited, I could count them on one hand, how many people have just been honed in on the intro offer and not want to do anything else than that. I think they're all just really open and happy to have somebody look at their skin and talk to them about what are your concerns, and then just give them all the options.
Yep. Yeah, that's the exact strategy. That's exactly what you do. And it's most beneficial for the client. It's leading with what they want. This is like classic marketing and sales, right? You need to lead with people with what they want, which is what they think they want, but not necessarily what they need. Some people are like, oh, it's a bait and switch. It's not a bait and switch. It's just using psychology to people's. I think people have this misconception that you're being manipulative with these things, but really you're just understanding how people think. They ultimately want to get good results, but part of the responsibility of getting someone results is selling them the results. Because if you don't have the strategy to actually get them excited about coming in, they're never going to come in and they're never going to get the results they want. So yeah, you totally get that. And that's why you're getting good results, right? It's not about that intro treatment. It's more of the incentive. And then when they come in, you can have a real conversation about what they need.
Sure.
That's great. So people watching, listen, this is how you do it.
Yeah. And I've had some people that we've really steered them in a completely different way, and they're on board with that. They're like, man, I appreciate that. And then I'll even say, because they'll bring up the intro offer, and I'm like, by all means, let's schedule you for that single treatment for that price. You can do that all day long. And they've done both. They're like, okay, I'll do it just for fun. I'd love to know what it feels like. But they're fine with going in the direction we sent them in, because that's really what was going to get them results. I have one person that came in this week, and she said, yeah, I saw your ad and I'd love to talk about that, but really I want to talk about hormones.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, sure.
So I just think that any way to actually get somebody in the door so that we can then meet them and interact with them. And the whole key is that they follow with us when they come in, because they really understand that we're advocating for them. We're on their side and just trying to present all the options to help them reach whatever their goal might be.
Yep. So I know there's a lot of clinic owners probably watching this, and maybe they're in the same situation as you. Maybe they're on their 6th agency and there's like, I've had it with agencies, and they're probably just not going to hire one. What would you say to someone on the fence? They're a bit skeptical, a bit jaded as well. What would you say to them?
I would say it's an 8-week commitment.
Yeah.
A lot of these companies want you to sign a 1-year commitment. I remember when you gave me the pricing, it felt like a lot of money, and I'm like, here we go again. But it's an 8-week commitment, and give it a try. I promise you will earn back that initial investment plus some. We blew it out of the water. It was like a drop in the bucket. I would do 8 weeks all over again. I'm so glad that we had the year option. But it's just a short commitment. And in 8 weeks, if somebody can't show you that they can really target your market and bring in new clients in 8 weeks, they're not going to be able to do it in a year. So at 8 weeks, it would be an easy decision to go, well, that didn't work. If you follow their guide, you guys gave me instructions every step of the way, all the way down to a phone script, which I adjusted a little bit to sound like more like me. But I did some of the uncomfortable things, and it worked. And so now I'm like totally drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm totally a believer that you guys really truly understand sales and marketing. And through your training, you've taught me invaluable lessons in that too, that my staff can watch those videos. I've had my other girls who just do consults, not related to this at all, watch the training. It's just been really invaluable. So it's 8 weeks. They're not trying to get you to sign up for a year. You've tried everything else. It hasn't worked. Give it a shot. Everything has just been so disappointing, and you guys have been night and day. It hasn't even compared. Cool. So I can't imagine anyone else would not have the same experience.
Good on, I really appreciate that, Carey.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if you can follow instructions, I always see that the clinics that are already doing well, they follow instructions the best. And it's like almost the clinics that are already doing well, like you, they're good at following instructions. And I feel like that's what made you got to this point, is because when you take a program, you can, even though they're experienced, you can use that beginner's mind and drop your ego. And, okay, we're gonna try this thing out again, and that's what guys did.
I
Yeah,
feel like we had to be beaten down to the point where I was just like, fine, I'm willing to try anything.
yeah,
They're saying to do this, that feels really uncomfortable, but I'll give it a try. And in the phone calls, just to read through it and then shut up.
yeah, yeah.
And on the other end,
When
they're
you asked for
like,
the card.
okay. I was just like, holy crap, that worked.
Cool.
Yeah, it's been great.
Cool. So you're signed on for a year now with us. I'm super pumped for what's coming next. We got some exciting new things we're adding to our program, like that proof page that I was sending out in the email. I think I'm going to really pursue that and offer that as a service too. But on your end, Carey, what are you excited about in the coming year? Do you have any new treatments, any plans the next even 6 months or a year? What are you excited about coming up with the clinic?
Honestly, we just had our staff meeting on Tuesday and we were talking about that we're continuing with you guys. And I shared that there's a whole game plan, that whole roadmap of planning out how we're going to tackle the whole year. And I'm just excited to have a plan. I feel
Yeah.
when things aren't working, when it comes to marketing, you're just try this, try that, try this. And to finally hone in on something that is working and then be able to strategize an entire plan, I'm
Yeah.
sleeping better at
I
night.
get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a lot of reasons, a lot of potential things that can make you not sleep as a meds owner. Yeah, so I'm happy to give you some better sleep. That's super valuable to be able to sleep better because that makes everything better. Thanks so much, Carey. I really appreciate you taking the time, and you guys has been such a star client of ours. And thanks so much for signing on, and look forward to the coming 12 months.